Jaylen Brown has been traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, and calling this an even swap is either denial or delusion, because this move might just signal a shocking power shift in the NBA that nobody wants to say out loud.
Jaylen Brown traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, and 2 second-round picks. And you know, I saw someone say, "Oh man, this is just about an even swap." And no disrespect to Paul George, but this isn't an even swap. I got a lot of love for PG, but like myself, PG is 36 years old. Not like myself, I'm going into year 15. I think PG's going into year 17. And Jaylen Brown, not even 30 years old. He's 29 years old, and he's going into year 11. So, and by the way, he won Finals MVP 2 years ago. I think he just made All-NBA second team this year. Was arguably, controversially, possibly could have been a first-team performer, but the votes are what they are. So it's not an even swap, like when you're talking just player for player. It's not. And I don't think, you know, that's no shot at PG. I don't think Paul George would say at this point in his career, him and Jaylen Brown are an even swap. So when I look at sports media and I see people saying that, either one, you're not smart, or two, you're trying to lessen the value of Jaylen Brown. You're trying to make it out as if Jaylen Brown isn't Jaylen Brown. And I just think that's bullshit. You know, like, again, no disrespect to PG. PG is a first ballot Hall of Famer, all of that. But to say today, July 2nd, 2026, that Jaylen Brown and Paul George is an even swap, I struggle with that badly.
Man, what do you think Jason Tatum's role was in all of this?
I don't know, but as Jaylen Brown said, there's more to it, and he left those lines wide open to read between. What I can tell you is the suspicion around the league is certainly this had a lot to do with the dynamic and the long-running tension that kind of escalated after this season between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Nobody knows that for certain except for the people within that Celtics front office. I don't want to really speculate on it. The one bit of speculation I will provide here is if Jason Tatum wanted to throw himself on the tracks, that train could have screeched to a halt. He clearly didn't want to do that.
That's an excellent point, bro.
I mean, I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not surprised because the writing was on the wall. I mean, this has been speculation for some months now. Like, unlike the Luka trade, where it was like shocking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a different, it came out of nowhere, where this one was like, all right, it's going to happen. Like, we almost knew it. It was like, when though? And so, you know, I don't know what happened behind the scenes.
You're only a little disappointed? I'm shocked. Like,
well, I saw, once the writing comes on the wall, you kind of you know what's going to happen, so you're able to digest it a little. Yeah. It's like if you have a family member who's dying, and it's like when they die, you saw it coming. It sucks, but you know, and like when it happens, it's like out of the blue. It's different. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, all right. So I came to acceptance of it that was going to happen, although I don't like it. I didn't want it to happen, but like I said, I don't know what happened behind the scenes where the relationship.
What's your best guess, though?
I would say more like a money thing, like long term, like because I think he will be up for an extension for a crazy number based on the season that he just had. And when you have new ownership that comes in, you're like, look, when you put up a check for this big for a franchise, you like start cutting costs right away. And you're like, well, in a year or two, we're going to have to extend Jaylen Brown, whereas if we trade for him now, we can get somebody with the same type of money that's come off the books in a couple years and don't have to worry about the long-term, you know, tax bill that's coming. You know what I mean?
In a few weeks, he would have been eligible
for
for
an
2 more years added to that deal.
Like 70 million or something like that.
Yeah, 70 mil. I think it was like 141.
Yeah.
2 years added to that deal. So there's those pressures because superstars generally want, they want
max money.
Security. Yeah.
And in saying that, you're like, all right, how can we cut costs but in the long run but still be competitive? Right. And so I think at the end of the day, it was a combination of some things that maybe turned off the franchise that was said, the combination of money-driven obligations in the future, and this is what we've come to. So it is what it is. But at the meantime, when you look at the Celtics roster, it's still a roster that you look like and say, hey, they can still come out the East with this roster. So, it's unfortunate because, he, like I said, he poured his soul into the city. He was a finals MVP, a champion. And although I think he feels like he doesn't get the respect that he deserves maybe from the organization, but Jaylen has to understand this is what your career has been built on. Not being respected. You didn't make the Olympic team. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not in the top 5 all NBA. You know what I'm saying? So this is what keeps you hungry, Jaylen. And you have to come to the fact that, and I came to this realization as a Boston Celtics also, listen, I know I'm not respected like I feel like I should, but sometimes that's what keeps you hungry, and sometimes those are the things that motivate you to keep you and drive you to become the player that you are today, which is a future Hall of Famer, possibly a top 100 player when they announced that. Sure. And so, things happen for a reason.
This is not just a trade. This is a statement that fractures the NBA's balance of power in real time. Jaylen Brown, gone to the Philadelphia 76ers. Paul George heading the other way to Boston. And the reaction calling this an even swap? That's where logic starts to collapse. Because when you strip away emotion and look at the numbers, this is not equal, not close. Jaylen Brown, 29 years old, entering year 11. A finals MVP just 2 seasons ago. An All-NBA second-team selection this year, with some even arguing he was robbed of first-team honors. And Paul George, 36 years old, entering year 17. A future Hall of Famer, no question, but clearly on the back end of his prime window. And yet, this deal includes Brown for George, plus 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, and 2 second-round picks. That is not an even exchange. That is a franchise-level gamble. But the real question is not what was traded, it's why this deal even happened at all. Because when you compare them side by side, the gap becomes impossible to ignore. Jaylen Brown, 29 years old, athletic peak, defensive dominance, championship experience. Paul George, 36 years old, veteran IQ, injury history, declining availability. This is not just a player swap, it is a timeline collision. And here's where the argument becomes controversial. Some analysts say it's balanced, win now versus experience, but others are calling it what it looks like, asset depreciation disguised as strategy. Because if you are Boston, you are not just acquiring Paul George. You are betting that a 36-year-old star can replace the production of a 29-year-old Finals MVP caliber wing. That is not just risky, that is borderline denial. But the deeper story might not even be about Paul George at all. Around the league, suspicion is growing. This wasn't just a basketball decision. It was a relationship decision. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, the duo that defined Boston's identity, may have reached a breaking point no one wanted to admit publicly. Some insiders suggest the dynamic tension escalated after this season. And while nothing is confirmed, one phrase keeps echoing. If Tatum wanted to stop it, he could have. But he didn't. And that silence speaks louder than any press conference. Even Brown himself hinted at it, carefully, cryptically, suggesting there's more to it. And now, the league is reading between every line. But behind closed doors, another force may have been even stronger than chemistry. Money. This is where emotion meets cold business.
Jaylen Brown was approaching a massive extension window. Reports suggest a potential deal adding 2 more years at nearly $70 million per season. That changes everything. With new ownership pressure, financial strategy becomes survival strategy. Why commit long-term to a supermax timeline when you can reset the books with an expiring veteran contract? Why pay for the future when you can win now while delaying financial collapse? And suddenly, this trade stops looking emotional. It starts looking calculated, cold, mechanical. But if Boston thinks they solved a financial equation, the league might have just rewritten the problem entirely. Philadelphia didn't just get younger, they got control of time. A 29-year-old elite wing entering his prime, paired with a roster already built for contention. Meanwhile, Boston inherits experience, but also fragility. And the league is watching one uncomfortable possibility emerge. This may not be a trade. This may be a transfer of power. Because in the NBA, aging stars don't just decline quietly. They drag timelines with them. And if Jaylen Brown becomes the dominant force in Philadelphia while Paul George slows in Boston, this won't be remembered as a trade. It will be remembered as the moment the East tilted. But the final question remains unanswered. Did Boston make a smart reset, or did they just trade away their future to delay an ending already in motion?
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.